All right, welcome to video number 6. Today we're going to be talking about Ironman terms or triathlon terms for beginners. And today we're going to be talking about transition terms. Specifically, what does T1 and 2 mean? What does T1 and what does T2 mean? I'll learn how to speak one of these days. So essentially, the transition zone is where you're transitioning from either swim to bike or bike to run. And the first transition from swim to bike is called T1, first transition, and the transition from bike to run is called T2. That's your second transition. Now, when you think about an Ironman or any kind of triathlon race, typically your bikes are kept, you have to check them in the day before the race. They're kept in a security tight pen. A pen, when I say pen, it's a barriered area where spectators can't get in. Only athletes can get into the transition zones. With your Ironman wristband, it will allow you, or any of your triathlon participant wristbands, that will get you in there and you can get in and get your bike and come out. Some races, they actually take a picture of you as you're bringing your bike in, so they're matching your face with that bike. That way, if there's any discrepancies, they can go back and look at that. I have experienced events where bikes were stolen overnight, where there may not have been enough security and criminal minds got the better of the security guards, and enough of them were in place that they were able to lift a couple of bikes. What I would say is this: if you don't have it already, you can get bike insurance from your local triathlon association. In Ontario, Canada, here we have Triathlon Ontario. They offer bike insurance. So if you get injured or smash your bike or do something where you have a damaged bike that needs to get replaced, your house insurance isn't going to cover that. But you can get a rider with Triathlon Ontario or your local triathlon association to insure your bike in the event that something goes wrong on race day. They'll replace it. If if your bike gets stolen, they will replace it. If you get hit by a car like I did, they will replace your bike. That's what the insurance is for. It's a special rider for that situation. Not expensive, but boy, when the day comes that you need it, you'll be glad you had it, just like pretty much any insurance will do for you. So let's jump into, we've talked about T1 is swim to bike. We've talked about T2 is going from bike to run. We've talked about the transition area itself. It's a fenced in area with scrim. Scrim is the signage that goes around on the fencing to kind of keep everything contained. And then we've got something called a flying mount and dismount. This is something the pros do, or the more competitive athletes do, where they actually have their shoes, their bike shoes, already clipped into the bike, and they're held on with elastics to hold them in the down position. And so now they've got their helmet on, they've got their bike, they're sprinting to the bike on line, and as soon as they cross the bike on line, they just, as the bikes move, and they just mount it like a riding horse, like a moving horse, just jump onto it and start pedaling with their feet on top of the shoes. And then as they kind of get away from transition and things get flat and they got momentum, they one by one slip their feet into their shoes. That's great if you're a pro. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never done that. Why risk injury? That's not what we're here to do. So if you're thinking that's what the sport's part of, that's a part of the sport for the elite people. That's not for us beginners, or even us, seasoned folks who are not trying to compete for a podium. I'm there to have a personal best every time I show up and have a great time. That doesn't include taking risks like, crashing my bike coming out of the transition area just because I want to shave a second off my time. Again, that's something the pros use or the pros do, not something you have to worry about. Racking your bike. So I will take a picture. I'll get a picture and show you of a properly racked bike. But all you want to do is make sure that when you do rack your bike, the best way to rack your bike is to come under the bike rack, which is a pole. It's a metal pole. They'll all be numbered. Your number will be there. So you know you're putting your bike on your race number on this particular spot on the pole. You want to, if you've got room, if the poles are high enough, you can go underneath and hook your saddle of your bike on the pole so that when you get there, you just pull it back and off you go. With aero bars, it's really hard to drop your handlebars with your aero bars over the post this way. So really what you're going to have to do, I've seen multiple different setups. When we're doing the provincial championships, for the Sprint Provincial Championships, we literally have a bike rack that comes out of the ground and it's two pool noodles that are around metal bars, and so you're just driving your front wheel into that and running away. So there's all kinds of different setups in transition. Your best bet is to go into transition, look at where your bike's going to go, and the day before is when you're going to register your bike into transition, and you're going to put it away till race day. So you can go in there and you can size up the situation, look around and see how everybody else has got their bikes racked, and usually go to the pro section and see how they've got their bikes racked, because you don't want to rack your bike following the lead of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing either. So just look and see how the pros have racked their bikes. Now, if the pros have racked their bikes because they may have a different racking setup, that might mean that you may have to reevaluate. You won't be able to do what the pros do, but then go ask one of the guys that are there, part of the operations crew. They're going to wear, all the Ironman guys that are part of the operations crew have a specific colored shirt on. It'll say crew on the back. Just say, hey, what's the best way to rack on this bike on these racks? And they'll tell you how those racks were built for you to hook your bike into it. And they'll look at your bike, if it's a road bike or a TT bike, whatever you've got. Maybe you've got the double winged water bottles out of the back of your bike. They're going to look at your setup and go, okay, try doing it like this. And they'll show you how to take it off and how to put it back on. It's really simple, but don't be afraid to ask the question, because that's part of what taking your bike the day before the race into transition and putting it away is getting there, understanding how you're going to rack your bike on the post, and then where is your bike in transition. Get a really good orientation of where you are, so that you know when you're coming out of the swim where you're going to get your bike. That's kind of, you don't want to be spending 5 minutes like in a parking lot going, where did I park my car? Because they all look very similar. So you got to know where you're supposed to be going, and part of that's the orientation. So that is the transition area is basically getting in there and getting familiar with where the swim in, where the bike out, where the bike in, where the run out's going to be. And there's signs. They'll all be marked, well marked, but just get oriented to where you are, how many rows in you are, so that you know approximately where your bike is. And also pay attention. Look around and go, does somebody near me have the same bike that I have? You don't want to make that mistake. Like, I'm very lucky because I've got custom wheels on my bike. Not many people have my custom wheels, so even if they've got the same bike and the same colors, I typically know by the wheels on the bike that it's mine. All right. We've talked about racking our bike. Race belt. Okay. So you've got a race belt for both the bike and the run. So your race belt, if you think about a marathon runner, you often see they get 4 pins to hold in your race bib. Okay, 4 pins, and you pin your shirt with your race bib. You don't do that in triathlon because A, you're going to ruin your riding gear, and B, they make specifically a race belt that is basically stretchy fabric that goes around your waist, and it's got a couple of bungee cords, for lack of small bungee cords with locking mechanisms on them. That's where you're going to run your poles in your race bib into your race belt. And then when you're riding the bike, you spin it around so your race bib number is at the back. When you're running, you can either leave it at the back, or you can spin it to the side, or you can spin it in front. Totally whatever just makes you feel comfortable. But that's a specific thing that triathletes use. It's different from what most marathoners use. They just pin their numbers. We use race belts to keep our bibs in order and in check. And then the helmet rule, I've talked about that already, but you want to make sure that your strap, your chin strap right here, hey, let's put it on for fun. Why not? How do I look? Nice and narrow. When you got this on, you got to make sure it's done up. And if you touch your bike without that sucker being done up like that, well then, you're going to get a penalty. That's what the marshals inside the transition zone are there to do. They're there to give you penalties when you make mistakes. So just make sure you got this thing done up every time you're touching your bike. That's it for today, everybody. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything I said, maybe you think I've misspoke, said something wrong, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I'm here to learn along with you. But like I said, I think I got a pretty good handle on what most of this stuff is. But I've been known to be wrong before, so maybe an opportunity to correct me, or if there's something that I've forgotten about, a term that you can think of that I haven't mentioned, go ahead and drop in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get that in there. What else? Oh, if you haven't subscribed already, that'd be great. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and when I do, I'm going to sign up for another Ironman and bring you guys along on that journey with me. So that was video 6 of 8, and we will see you in the next video, which will be either here or here. I'm not quite sure anymore which side I'm recording from, but we're going to be talking about nutrition and hydration in those terms. So yeah, we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye for now.